Hottest Game of Thrones chick on 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Emma Stone. Just kidding. Boom. She talks about like these potions that she uses just to keep up with the smoke and mirrors to sort of like, you know, just mesmerize and just convince people that this whole thing is real, right? But on the other hand, like she does tell Stannis' wife, you can look into the flames. So there's a part of it that's, you know, kind of like a farce, but then there's also some true to the religion as far as we know. And I think this scene also sets up Stannis' daughter as being a possible sacrificial lamb. And that was heavily foreshadowed when Melisandre went up to talk to the girl, right? When she said, there's only one hell princess, the one we live in now. So if you're teaching kids that this world is pretty much hell, then that means that whatever comes after life is going to be better. That's usually like the way that you create martyrs, by indoctrinating them, by teaching them about like, you know, a higher power and you know, them, you know, not being so afraid of giving up their life for that power or for that god. Something that I felt the episode did very, very well was build up the character of the Mountain to be like this enormous fucking threat. And it did it very smartly. It did it through different characters. It did it through Cersei when she, you know, well, he asked, you know, when he's going around killing people, and by the way, this guy is huge. And he's like, who am I fighting? And Cersei's like, does it matter? And he's like, well, fuck no. And then, so Cersei was just one character that was used to build him up. And then Bronn was also scared shitless. Well, not scared shitless, but he said, hey, I mean, I'm buying this guy for free. I want some castles. I already got gold. That was like the first tender moment of the episode when like Bronn says, you know what, Tyrion, like, I like you, but I just like myself a little bit better. And that's okay. We're still cool. So they use Cersei, they use Bronn to build up the Mountain, and they also use the Hound. Now, when the Hound is, I mean, this guy is still traumatized because of the, you know, the scar that he got because he was burned by the Mountain. Because these two are bros. So the moral of this episode, you know, aside from, you know, the fact that Littlefinger wants to get up in that ass, is that if you have a character that the Hound is afraid of, you do what Brienne and Podrick did. You bail. You get the fuck out. You order your little, you know, Stark direwolf pie to go. You get on your ponies and you just leave. Actually, you know what? Fuck the pie. Don't even get the pie. Just leave. Go. It's actually very cool to see hot pie again. Although I kind of doubt that Arya is ever going to eat that pie. Like, Podrick is probably going to eat it. And speaking of people related to, or like, you know, that Arya knows, where the fuck is Gendry? There's a part with Daenerys in which Jorah gets friend-zoned again, and then I guess seeing Daario naked got her so excited that she had to go and buy a new outfit. But really, the heart of the scene is that, I mean, she's just laying it out. She's just saying, it's my way or the highway. And I'm like, did you not learn anything? Somebody testify and be like, hey, you kind of killed my dad there, and he wasn't that much of an asshole. Nah, she's sending people over to Yunkai to go and kill all the masters. And I love how Jorah, he had a really good quote when he said, like, there's good and evil on both sides. And like when he brought back Ned and he said, like just threw it in her face, if Ned had done the same thing that you're doing to those people, I would not be here right now. Just epic. So epic, in fact, it changed her mind. There's a lot of pretty good bonding moments in this episode. The one with Jaime and Tyrion in the beginning. You know, then Arya and the Hound. You know, just sort of like contemplating mortality with this guy that's been wounded. And actually, Arya has one of the best quotes in this episode, in my opinion, which is, nothing isn't better or worse than anything. Nothing is just nothing. My other favorite quote is from Littlefinger, you know, when he says, a lot can happen between now and never. You know what, in addition to Tyrion's dialogue, there was this one part where like Bronn was talking about his gloves when he said, oh, this is doe skin, you know, it's softer than the thighs of virgins. And there's a scene with Jon, but really all it does is just set up the inevitable fight between the Wildlings and the Night's Watch. So yeah, which is why it's so short. But really the two things that really just stole the episode were Oberyn's talk with Tyrion and then what happened in the Eyrie. Peter Dinklage does it again, you know, because like the amount of empathy that he's able to evoke from people is just incredible. And you know, it got me thinking, like last week's speech, like one of the reasons why that speech was so passionate and it was so good is that maybe part of it wasn't just Tyrion talking about it, you know, because, I mean, Peter Dinklage, he's not playing, you know, to be a dwarf. He's not acting the part of a dwarf. Like, he has that condition, right? So, you know, it kind of makes you think like, well, maybe, I mean, this life must not have been easy for him. You know, not Tyrion, but the actor. So you think about all these things that are just coming up, and even if you don't have dwarfism, you know, you could just you can relate to being an underdog and being mistreated by your family. I think that's pretty common. I don't think that's something rare, especially like in this day and age where like families are just, you know, breaking apart. But you got a guy that's just basically broken, you know, because the people that are supposed to be his family have betrayed him. They don't love him, and Shay, the person that apparently did love him at first, or, you know, to a certain extent, ended up saying all these hurtful things, regardless of whether or not she meant it. Like I said, that doesn't matter. And so you have that, and then on top of that, you have Oberyn coming in, and then just bringing back, like, one of the most painful parts of Tyrion's history. And, I mean, I think it's a good thing that Tyrion didn't remember this, by the way, because he was a baby, so he couldn't, I mean, he didn't have the capability of forming that memory at that time. And you see the pain in Dinklage's eyes, you know, it's just so incredibly well acted on both sides, on both Oberyn and Tyrion's side. And then you have Oberyn, you know, just acting as sort of like a healing agent by saying, but you know what, when I saw you, I was really disappointed. There was no monster there. Oberyn views Tyrion like we view Tyrion, like a normal person. But then the tables turn, because then you have Oberyn opening up and talking about his pain, about, you know, losing Elia, the way that she was murdered and raped, and how her kids were also murdered. So by the end, you have both guys with watery eyes, and he decides to step up to the plate and be Tyrion's champion. An incredibly vulnerable, emotional moment. Then we go to the Eyrie for the final POV. And I have to say, they actually took a lot of liberties in terms of like adapting the source material into this part of the episode. Specifically 3 scenes that I want to mention. The first one is with Robert. When he comes to the castle, in the books, this kid is a total asshole. In the episode, it looks like he wanted to put the moon door there, right? And, you know, he touched it and it just fell, and oh shit, that was an accident. And then Sansa started yelling and he threw a fit. He still throws the fit in the books, but in the books, this motherfucker comes in like just ready to fucking wreck shit. Just a very quick FYI, the episode is called Mockingbird because of the pin that Littlefinger wears on his collar. I know a lot of you already know this, but I just thought I should mention it. That being said, let's talk about the kiss. Yeah, that was way more consensual than I thought it was gonna look. Sansa, like, she ain't pulling away. I didn't see her pull away. I saw, like, a little bit of a disgust by the end of it, but she did not pull away. And usually, if you want to force kiss somebody, not that, you know, I'm an expert on that, but, like, I would assume you take the back of the other person's head and hold them up to your face and then stick your tongue in the... I'm sorry, this is getting way too graphic. Lysa Arryn's murder, you know, her getting thrown out of the moon door, I thought the scene was perfect, except for that last line of dialogue from Littlefinger, because, and this is something that people hyped it up, like, a lot, like in the comment section, only cat is coming, only cat. So I'm like, what the fuck does only cat mean? I read the chapter, and the last line from Littlefinger before he pushes her out of the moon door is, I've only loved one person, one woman, only cat. And it just seems more badass to say that. When we actually give the person their name, I don't know, it just personalizes the intent a lot more. So the fact that they replaced that with just your sister or only your sister, whatever, pet peeve, moving on. Finally, I just wanted to end by talking about the symbolic nature of the snow when it came to Sansa's character. I kind of did the same thing when it came to Arya and Needle in the first episode of Season 4, and that Needle is the only thing that Arya has that reminds her of home and her family and the place that once was, pretty much. I know a lot of people get frustrated by Sansa because of her lack of agency and constant victimization, but from a story standpoint, I actually do consider her and Arya to be very different sides of the same coin. Like, even though Arya is my favorite, I think if you're a Stark and you're alive at this point in the story, this late in the game, I believe it's because George has something special planned out. So here's a quote from Sansa's perspective. She had last seen snow the day she had left Winterfell. That was a lighter fall than this, she remembered. Robb had melting flakes in his hair when he hugged me, and the snowball Arya tried to make kept coming apart in her hands. It hurt to remember how happy she had been that morning. Holland had helped her mount, and she had ridden out with the snowflakes swirling around her, off to see the great white world. I thought my song was beginning that day, but it was almost done. I thought it was a pretty good setup episode, to be honest. Really, really good setup episode. Tell me your thoughts in the comment section down below, guys. Like the review if you did. Subscribe to my channel if you like the stuff I do. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.